Wait, what the hell? Wait, what's going on here? Wait. Oh, hi. It's been a while. Hey, you ever have one of those dreams where you're back in grade school and you're stressing about being late to class and finishing homework, and then you're like, wait a minute, I graduated years ago. I had one of those, and I've been thinking about it all day, but man, memories from back then are so hazy. It's hard to remember specific details. But I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get back on topic. It's not like you've all been waiting 4 months or anything. It's May 24th, 2021. Yesterday was my first day stepping into Guns the Duel, where I made my character, geared them up with the finest drip, learned a few basics, and overcame intimidation with the help of a mouse-shaped mask and the mysterious forces which draw me towards it. I also missed out on finding a coach, but my efforts were not in vain, as I've scheduled a session with a skilled guns player later today to instruct me on my next steps towards achieving my goal of learning K-Style. I have some time to spare until then, so I thought I would take it upon myself to squeeze in a little research and practice beforehand. Having picked up Butterfly, Swap Shot, and Wall Climb with ease, it was time I bump up the difficulty and begin stepping into K-Style's core movement techniques. I've really been looking forward to this part, because my favorite thing about games like these is the variety and fluidity in their movement options. Nothing says skill expression more than mastering control of one's character, so let's get to it. Hold up now, we're not going to that just yet. First, I need to cover a couple things. Let's start with the difference between movement with a sword and movement with a gun. When double tapping any of the 4 directional keys, you get a burst of movement in that direction. However, depending on what weapon you're currently holding, you get a different movement option. While holding a sword, you get a dash, and while holding a gun, you get a tumble. The dash briefly moves you a short distance, allowing you to slash mid-animation. The tumble isn't as brief as its counterpart, but moves you twice as far and allows you to either shoot or reload mid-animation. With a longer burst of movement and double the options during it, you would think that the tumble would be better than the dash, right? Yes, the dash only allows you to slash during it, but the slash has a few interesting properties that, I can go as far as to say, holds together the entirety of K-Style's movement. Property 1. I mentioned before that the slash can be cancelled with a block. However, blocking isn't the only option that can cancel a slash. Just like with the swap shot, the slash can also be cancelled by swapping to another weapon. Property 2. The slash resets your dash cooldown, meaning you can perform a second dash during your first one. Property 3. After cancelling a slash with a weapon swap, the game treats you as if you were still holding a sword for a brief period of time, making it so you can perform the sword exclusive dash while wielding anything else. Let's not worry about property 2 and 3 right now though. We'll get back to those later. For now, let's just focus on property 1. Got all that? Okay, good. You can come back out now. The slash shot is the basis of all gun-related movement techniques in K-Style. It starts with a jump and a dash, followed by a slash, which is then swap cancelled to a gun, then ends with a shot. I'm starting to feel the difficulty ramp up, as the time I spent learning this move utterly dwarfs the time I spent learning the previous 3, a trend which I'm certain will follow with every future technique from here on. 30 minutes of learning slash properties and practicing slash shots went by as quick as it began, and it was now time to begin my first coaching session. Meet Cosine, my new K-Style coach. A top player during the early years of Guns, Cosine returned to the private server era in dominant fashion, establishing himself as a renowned member of the community. With a total of 8 years of Guns experience under his belt, I know I found myself in good hands.
So now we just need to figure out where you're at in terms of movement and stuff.
Okay, for sure.
So you know the butterfly, okay, you can chain it almost. So can you chain butterfly? What are you using for block?
Right click.
Oh, okay, nice. It's really good, bind. So I use shift, but it's not really ideal. Okay. Do you know the slash shot?
Okay, Tandora, you were just practicing this. You're going to nail this the first try. You got this. Wait, where's the shot?
Okay. Wait. Let's put on training shotguns. I forgot to put those on.
Ah yes, switching between the training and regular shotguns. A certified gun struggle. It's only my second day and even I know this, as just yesterday I actually did the exact opposite going into 1v1s. I'm lucky I caught a glance at the bottom right corner as soon as I got in the game, because I would have never been able to tell due to getting clapped hard anyways. Whether you're an elite 500 APM pro guns gamer, or a complete newbie patootie, we can all relate to forgetting to put on or take off our training shotguns.
Okay, I am back. Alright. So, you know how to slash shot. Do you know how to chain it?
I don't believe I do now.
So, after you complete a slash shot, right, you want to jump up again after you do it so you can chain, right? So, if you jump after you complete it, you'll be able to have enough momentum to do another one. Yeah, it's the same thing as butterflying. Like, when you butterfly chain, you jump up again, right? To do another one. Yeah, you see how you're jumping at the butterfly? It's the same thing with slash shot.
Just a matter of like moving my fingers around the keyboard to do it.
Yeah,
Getting
exactly.
wrapped around right now. I think what I'm just stuck on right now is like switching back to sword after I've shot.
Oh, okay. Let me see you completed a slash shot. Let me see the timing that you have. Okay, so you're pulling your gun out really good. Try holding left click to shoot it after you pull it out.
Oh,
Did you hold left click before, or
yeah.
did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't know you could buffer it like that.
Yeah, dude.
What? This entire time I was practicing, I didn't know you could just hold down the left mouse button. That's an entire extra input cut out of the process. This just made my life so much easier.
You'll get used to the time shoots as well.
As easy as that, my singular slash shots became much more consistent. Chaining slash shots, however, is a whole nother story. It's been hard to wrap my fingers around these continuous inputs while staying in motion. And it doesn't help that I decided to change my key bindings before I began the session because I just really wanted to try scroll wheel to switch weapons. So now my brain is trying to learn new techniques, while at the same time, learn new key bindings. Why did I think this was a good idea? Despite this foolishly self-made hurdle, I spent roughly 15 minutes grinding this out with the help of Cosign's guidance, and as I'm starting to get it down pretty well, that's when he says,
Try doing it left and right.
that's when it hits me. This entire time I've spent practicing chaining slash shots, I've only been doing them to the right. And just as soon as I try going to the left. So all that time I spent building muscle memory, I gotta do 3 times over for each of the other directions. And that's not including mixing up the 4 directions as I move. But hey, I'm here for it, because I know I can get my head through this, and I know I can get to where I want to be. That muscle memory grind will have to continue another time though, because we have more to get to than just slash shot. So I take a few more minutes to wrap things up, which is an adequate amount of time to decide how I like the scroll wheel key binding. I don't. Now with that out of the way, I can give my full attention to the next lesson.
You ever try to half step?
Remember those 3 slash properties I talked about earlier? Let's bring those back up, with a focus on property 2 and property 3. The half step begins with a jump, dash, slash, and a swap the gun, just like slash shot. But next is where both of the 2 properties come into play. Property 2 gives me access to a second dash, and property 3 allows me to execute that dash while holding my gun. The half step is useful for peeking and shooting from behind cover, as well as being another option to mix up your movement. At this point in our session, my brain is totally fried from both grinding techniques and juggling between new and old key bindings to the point where my attempts to half step only result in me fumbling and tumbling around. So Cosign, witnessing me in my 404 error grind set, suggests that I slow the pace down.
Listen for a second. I can get you to do it. Alright, so when you do your slash shot, just land and don't do this. Nice. Okay, now when you need to shoot it. Nice. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to complete a slash shot and just walk to the left. No. Sorry, you're left, not mine.
Oh my god.
Just do a regular slash shot. You can do it. There you go. Now when you're with the left, all you have to do is just double tap the left gear next time. Almost. There you go. There you go. You're doing it. You're barely getting the timing down for it, but you're doing it. The faster you hit it, the more cleaner it will. If you do it like as fast as possible, it's called a dash break. See what a dash break looks like? But you notice when you do a half step, you land it back in the same spot. And when you do it as fast as possible, it's called a dash break. You don't land in the same spot, you land more to the left. But don't worry about dash break. I was just showing you so that way you know you have the knowledge of it. Basically, the dash break makes it look like you're gonna dash more to the right, but you actually to the right at all. You're actually just going to the left. The way you do it is basically you're dashing to the left as fast as possible after dashing.
With the half-step lesson concluded, my first coaching session with Cosine comes to an end. Before we part ways, however, I'm left with one final message.
Hey, don't forget to take a break too. Like, don't do it to the point where your hands start hurting.
Fair enough, as a fighting game player and especially a GameCube controller user, I completely understand the importance of taking care of your hands. And so with the coaching session finished, Cosine heads out, happy to have set me on the right path to achieve my K-style goals. Now, having learned the ropes to a few new techniques, I'm going to need plenty of practice in order to get them down and be ready for our next session. But it's time to head out for the day and rest both my mind and my hands. I'm going to need them for the journey ahead of me. May 25th, 2021. A beautiful day to begin practicing and refining my newly learned techniques. I've been given a list by Cosine on what to work on before we meet again, and my current goal is to have all these down and more by the end of this week. And how will I go about achieving this goal? By hopping into a solo training room for an hour or two a day, and simply grinding out these techniques until they become second nature. I wish I could present to you some quick, fun, and clever method to improve that would spice up the content, but when it comes to building up muscle memory, there is truly no shortcut. No half-assing, no cutting corners, just straight grinding. That said, there's honestly not much content to be had here as I'm just spending these days in repetition. However, I have two little stories from this week-long grind to share with you all. The first one takes place today. After my first hour of sitting alone in the training room, I thought I'd change the pace of things and hop into a new players dual lobby. After all, grinding techniques is one thing, but properly applying said techniques takes its own effort. Oh boy, I can't wait to play against fellow new players. So there I am in the dual— oh, wait, hang on a second. I forgot to take off my training shotguns, just one moment. Okay, so there I am in the dual lobby, running games with some fellow newbies, slap to getting slap ratio roughly even, just having a good time. And then after about 15 minutes, I start getting a little frustrated. Not because I start losing more, no, that I came in expecting to happen, but rather because there are players who joined the new player lobby who are very clearly not new players. Out of all the other lobbies to pick, these people with a decade plus worth of experience decided to join this one specifically. And when I say something about it, one of them says,
I can give you an advice. Training here, so you can learn with the best.
if I wanted to go train against significantly better players, I would go to a not new players lobby. Besides, I'm already being trained by the best. I'm good.
Hall is a bad place to learn to play though.
Yeah, maybe if it's a lobby not meant for new players, I could see that. Am I in the wrong here? But then he came in. A peculiar-looking individual who boasted some unusual weapons. Weapons very far removed from the norm of K-style signature double shotguns, equipped with dual-wielding revolvers and a grenade launcher. I was quite baffled. I heard of other styles outside of K-style, but this one was different, you see. Dual-wielding revolvers. Nade launcher. Could this be the legendary DN style? I couldn't believe it myself, but the only way to find out was to ask. Is that DN style?
I'm not sure what DN style is. What is it? What's DN style?
And that's it. That's the first story. Did I really just spend all this time just to tell you a D's nuts joke? Yes. We partake in mild amounts of tomfoolery here. On to the next story. It's a Wednesday evening. I'm about an hour into today's practice, and I feel like I'm progressing at a pace where I can once again bump up the difficulty. Earlier, when I was in a duel lobby, someone pointed out how I wasn't performing any reload cancels. And the reason for that was because I was so occupied learning the standard versions of these techniques that I didn't want to overcomplicate things for myself. But now I'm ready. What is reload cancel, you might ask? Well, what if I told you that, with the addition of one more input, every gun-related move I've told you about so far can be made even faster? That's right. Everything I've been doing related to shooting has been suboptimal, but not anymore, thanks to reload cancel. When I covered swap shot, I mentioned that a gun's end lag can be cancelled by swapping to another weapon. But get this. If you press reload immediately after shooting, you don't just cancel the end lag, you cancel the entire shooting animation. So swap shot? It's reload shot now. Slash shot? Reload slash shot. Half step? Reload half step, and so on. That's great, Tandoori, but what's this have to do with your story? Well, I could tell you right now, or you code, just wait and see. So new button I gotta add to the mix, huh? Looks like it's time to revisit my keybinds. Currently, I have reload set to R, with one additional key available to bind to. It's right next to E, the custom keybind for my second weapon. However, across from my movement keys is where my primary weapon bind, Q, lies, which isn't very far from R, but felt a little weird rotating through Q and E while hitting R in between. Now, looking at this problem logically, the best decision would be to put reload on something more universal, such as a side mouse button, but a thought came to my mind. A thought which could be described as unhinged and diabolical. A thought which would bring me down a path I would have never seen coming. That thought? What if I were to keep reload on R and put my second reload keybind on the tab key? Now, hear me out. I already have a reload keybind directly next to E, so why not add another reload keybind directly next to Q? Yes, I know it sounds unorthodox, but I think it's worth giving it a shot. It's not letting me bind it. It's just tapping down to the next control. Maybe the tab key just wasn't meant to be rebound? Take to the guns Discord and ask if it's possible to, which I was told yes. So I explained my situation and they went to check and see if the same happens on their end. At least I'm not alone when it comes to strange keybinds. Turns out it's not just me, but rather a known bug on this private server. Oh, just my luck, coming across another inconvenient bug. Until it gets patched, I'm told there is just one way to get around it. Look, I've already come this far, so I'm willing to hear it out. Tell me, what do I gotta do? Wait, am I reading this Discord message correctly? I have to code? Yep. In order to get around the bug and set my tab keybind, I'm gonna have to go into the config file and recode the game. So I'm sitting there, config file on my desktop, trying to figure out what the hell to do. I don't know a lick of code, but all I need to do is change one keybind. I'm sure I could figure it out. As I said before, as long as I can get my head through this, I can pull through and get to where I want to be. The first thing I notice is the order this file is in. Video, audio. Is this the same order as the options menu? Scroll past audio and sure enough, we're now in the right place. Now I just need to figure out what I need to change and what I need to change it to. I notice each control is a line of code with two sets of numbers each, with a reload containing a -1 and a 19. You know, now that I point that out, every control contains a -1 in their first set of numbers. Every control but 3. Melee weapon, primary weapon, and secondary weapon. The only controls I have 2 keys bound to. There's no such thing as a coincidence here, as I've concluded the first set of numbers is the second keybind, which means the second set of numbers is the first keybind. Wow, that's a little confusing. -1 equals no key bound, so every other number here must equal a different key. But which one is which? Going back to the reload code line, its second set of numbers is a 19. Okay, so 19 must equal R. Wait, go back to secondary weapon. It contains 18 and 4, and I know secondary is bound to E and 3. So if 19 is R, and 18 is E, and tab is 3 keys to the left of E, does that mean tab equals 15? It must be, because that's what number is in the scoreboard line, and scoreboard is bound to tab. It looks like I got it all figured out now. Now I just need to put 15 on the reload and take 15 off of score, save the changes, open up iGuns, log in, make a lobby, get into game, and then... And then 2 days later I took it off and put it on my side mouse button instead. Yeah. It's May 28th, 2021, the day before my next session with Cosine, and I have a lot on my mind. I left my wage slave job early after nearly getting crushed by a car, so my mind is kinda all over the place right now. Glad to say I only mean that figuratively. So to distract myself, I put my focus towards my routine training, but that doesn't slow down the gears moving in my head. I still wonder, what exactly is this mouse mask? Sure, I started viewing it as a reminder to keep pushing forward, but I feel like I'm missing something and I just can't put my finger on it. But there's also a more pressing question on my mind. I started this entire journey with the goal of learning K-style, but how exactly am I supposed to measure this? How will I know I've achieved what I set out to do? Well, that's weird. I can't move like I normally do up these steps. You know, I've never really been on this side of the map before. That's all very different from the leveled surface I'm used to. I just might have an idea. The next day arrives, and it's time to meet with Cosine once more. However, receiving coaching has now become an afterthought to me. Instead, I've come looking to receive consulting. Consulting for an idea which will bring me to the end of my journey. Or at least, that's what I think. Hey you, yeah you, like and subscribe. Cool, thanks, bye.